好像好，可以，没问题。好，现在我要开游戏。嗨，居民，这不算恐游，这不算恐游，只是社畜的游戏。要专心上课呢。哇，有看到画面了？有有我当然要啊，要字幕啊。好，确定。它这个游戏比较就是要看英文的。等一下哦。Set until it's barely visible， 什么意思？哦，亮度是吗？要放最亮吗？我这看不到我放最亮了。我现在的时间，等一下哇，还要看时间的吗？现在是几点啊？现在是3:19，对吧？哎呀，不，19。我要不要等到它20的时候再按确定，就更准确了？我想这个游戏好神奇哦，还要设时间。3:20到了没？3:20。没事，我们就稍微等一下。这个游戏好像不是恐游，可是它是很多结局的，这多重结局的一个故事。哦，3:20了，好。OK， 我可以更改。OK， 好。这游戏是没有声音吗？有一点点。可是它的音乐全部都已经调最大了。好。OK， 好。Control， 好，跳。OK，Crouch。好。其实基本上就跟这个小电脑好可爱哦，好可爱。感觉它的音乐真的是可以再轻一点。OK， 好。老实说，我也不知道这个游戏是什么。玩一下。哇，这个真的是那种办公室会有的声音耶，真的很办公室的声音，就里面充满着一些打电话声音。你看，它键盘声，Oh my god！ 我自己来试看音乐，应该不会太大声，不会啦，可以。OK， 好，好吧，开始吧。
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
OK， 好。哦，我们可以动。思考我要不要去？我要不去 DC 那边直播一下。I hate 什么？哇，等一下，那个灵敏度是有点太灵敏，感觉这样还行，对吧？这样，还是有点快呢。能跳吗 ？I hate Monday， 是 Monday。哦，它不能拉近看，好，不能按吗？什么都不能。看一下，我们现在才11点多哎，好。我试试看吧，我感觉这个跟大家一起玩蛮好的。好，开始吧。现在是11点几啊？11点21吗？好，12吧，不能开。这个呢？这个也不能开。里面有什么？好，我真的看不到。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
I hate Monday. I hate Monday. 臭死！这能看吗？诶，等一下，好像能看呢。For the love of God, please unplug me. Oh, what can I know of life? What cause? Printer? No. 哇，这太小了，不行，完全看不到。我眼睛真没那么强。看不到。
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers. 谁放屁？傻眼！哇，这种削铅笔的东西不知道多少年没用了。哎，这个能看吗？能看吗？看不到。wait first that OK。真的没有什么东西可以去？哇，不行，这个灵敏度，哇，已经调低了，还是这个样子。可以吧？这样可以吧 ？Is that OK？ 感觉可以了，但是开不到吗？没什么东西可以剪吗？好吧。哎呀，怎么这里还有那么多、哦？这个地方还真是。 Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
这个有吗？有吗？有别的东西可以给我看一下吗？哦，那怎么这办公室其实蛮大的呀？还不能看呢、我时间有过吗？嗯，等一下，刚刚不是11:21的吗？它一直就停留在11:21号。I hate Mondays 有谁会讨厌？有谁不讨厌呢？啊，我不讨厌，因为我星期一放假。
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
他说我要往左，为什么？嗨，Haley，往左，为什么要往左？这要听他说话吗？还是我往这边走？我看我要不要叛逆？那第一次我们要往左还是往右呢？你觉得？Haley，你觉得呢？往左还是往右好？刚刚那个旁白是说我们会往左走啦，但就是不知道要听他的话还是我们自己决定好了。这个游戏充满了各种各样的抉择。好，那我们就往左。他关门了。哦，哎，这个店这个可以开吗？哦，开不到。这也开不到。对，时间一直停在这。没有。到底。
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
哇，我跟你说，社畜看到这个就是觉得，啊，对吧？我是没有经历过这个阶段啦。我虽然也是有做过那种办公室，可是我做的都是非常简单的工作，而且整个办公室里面就只有5个人，包括我，所以没有什么这种就是什么开会啊，然后还要去前面报告什么的，然后也不用看老板脸色，因为老板都不会在办公室。好多哦 ，Pranking Floor 5 Meeting We are bored Wednesday Termination Tuesday Marketing Monday 什么一堆啦 What to do about 432 Don't tell 432 about the meeting 哦，我们好像就是432号的员工哦，所以他们真的没有跟我说要开会，哎嘿，真是坏。Target， 哎，这个字谁写的啦？这么丑，而且不同的风格，哎，你看，就是中间这个就写的蛮好看的，左边第一条那个谁写的字那么难看，它有点乱的。好啊 ，Who moved my desk？ 哦，好。完全搞不懂，这是什么？这是什么？哎，我被卡住了，我完全看不到这是什么东西。看一下，哦呦，哇，很专业呢！这个报表，业绩报表 ，SEO， 哎，一大堆那种。还好，我不需要坐办公室，哈，我不需要对着这种东西，不然真是无聊死。Number of slide charts and slide 这太熟悉了吧，这个 PPT 这 PPT 真的就是那种办公室他们会需要干，你看 market report 一大堆那种数据的东西。Please no more charge, please, I'm begging. On your boss circle okay, your boss appreciation specialist 拍马屁吧，这真的好真实哦，因为我们马来西亚这边的办公室大部分都是用英文比较居多，连文件都是英文啊什么的，所以其实我看这些觉得跟我的生活蛮贴近的， 很真实。我们基本上在办公室很少会用到中文啦，都是英文，全部文件啊都是英文啊，这种报表的英文。
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
You sure that nothing is in here? 我怎么不信你？
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here.
他不耐烦了，他赶我们走，跟我们说这里真的没有东西，你给我走啦。
It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA.
他吐槽我们待在那个里面没有做任何东西，还在那里待着。
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
然后继续往下。我其实还没有办法放大感觉就像一个小学生写的那种小笔记，还画了一个猫头鹰骑着脚踏车，是什么意思？完全看不懂。好，没理他。
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just...
Shut up.
He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with
他
this
装作
dream.
自己是
I wish
在
it to
睡
be
觉，
over.
然后他想要让自己
Let me
清
go
醒，
back
但
to
其
my
实
job. Let me
看他有没有
continue pushing the buttons. Please. It's all I
是一个
want.
弟弟。
I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I
他
am
什么都动
normal.
不了。
Everything will be fine. I am okay.
我去哪里 ？No, you're not. 跟刚才的地方是
Stanley
一样的。
began screaming. Please, someone wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
What? 那旁白真的很可怕。
This is the story of a woman named
这
Mariella.
是史丹利的寓言。
Mariella woke up on
他
a
是
day
一
like
个
any
社
other.
畜，
She
然后永
arose,
远都
got
做着
dressed,
朝九晚
gathered her
五一样的工
belongings,
作。
and walked to her place of work.
然后
But on this particular day, her
然后
walk
突
was
然有一天，
interrupted
他
by
整
the
个办公
body
室
of
的
a
人全部
man
都消
who had
失了，
stumbled through
然后他
town
就在那里
talking
游
and
荡。
screaming to
我
himself,
是刚
then
开始玩
collapsed
的，
dead on the sidewalk.
不知道
And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance,
什么东西？
for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy
他死
people
了吗？
look like. And in that moment,
他社
she
畜
thought to herself
到
how lucky she was to
他
be
他
normal.
疲劳过度要
I
死
am
了吗？
sane. I
等一下
am in
他
control
刚
of
刚
my
不是
mind.
陷入回圈了吗？
I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better.
这会不会是
But then
其
she
中一个
remembered the
结局
meeting
啊
she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
哦不，刚刚那个站着的女的，她也是一个社畜，然后她也是累，不，她也是要赶着去上班，所以就看到倒下的主角，她也没有多理会。Maybe， 我们回到我们的办公室，这是我们的位置。永远都做着重复的东西，但突然有一天，整个办公室没人了。
All of his co-workers were gone.
现在我
What
们
could
是
it
属于
mean?
重新
Stanley
来的
decided to go to the
那个
meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
他又要我们
No
去
matter
回
how
那
hard
个什么
Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his
会议室。
co-workers.
好，可是一样没有什么变化。看这么大的办公室有吗？有什么不一样的吗？好像没有。好，awaiting input， 什么东西？我按不到，没有办法互动。我是不是只能够一直往前走，去到办公室，到那个？这能开吗？不能开。哦，
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
这次我们要往左吗？上一次往左，然后我们原本是应该要走上，可是我手贱，我走下。这旁白说我们会走左，我都相信右边。那我们这次试试看右边，我就不
This
听
was
他
not
讲
the
话。
correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
这旁白很会找借口解释，我就是不想听你的。等一下，47吗？47，47哎，等一下是吗？我往后一点啊，对，是47。来，艾特一下。47无处不在，好可怕哦！能开门吗？开不到。那边有一个门可以通去别的地方可是这里门不能开，哭泣。450， 时间都好像停止了。
Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room.
Wow, coffee.
Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
好爽哦！那大公司真的有这种，就是专门用来休息这么大的区
Yes,
吗？
really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it.
这个旁白真的话多哎。
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
First open door on his left. 哦，我看到了，但我还是要开一下门。看一下，哎，那我们往前走，先往前走，看一下这里的东西。
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
No, wait. 我又走了另外一条路，我关门了。我到底，我很爱乱逛哎，我没有跟着他的指示走。他刚刚说左转，我没有理，我只走。Do not lie. If you are lying right now, stop. 我管你呢，你管我那么多干嘛？这个什么地方啊？他关门了。这是什么？这是仓库是吗 ？Do not jump from the. OK， 好，被跳下去。哇，真的哎，这里能走吗？试试看。啊，不能开。那个是要卡，那个要刷卡，那个要刷卡。好哦，我们找找看那个卡在哪。我不能跳哎，笑死！我是不能跳吗？看一下我的设定。 对吧？我可以跳啊，只是他现在目前这个。
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life.
Don't care.
She's been waiting.
我才管你这么多嘞！我就想要自己让你走啊，不给吗？啊，不给吗？啊？这一堆是什么啦？这什么地方？等一下，我
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
对呀，被游戏骂了。Wait, how do I？ 可是我不能啊，我按任何的东西都不能啊。
As Stanley picked up the phone, a white light engulfed him, filling him not just with radiance, but with hope. Hope for a life reunited one... Wait. Oh, goodness. Stanley, did you just unplug the phone? No, that wasn't supposed to be a choice. How did you do that? You actually chose incorrectly.
Sorry.
I didn't even know that was possible.
Oh,
Let me double check. No, it's definitely here, clear as day. Stanley picks up the phone. He's taken to his apartment where he finds his wife, and the two pledge themselves to one another. Music comes in, fade to white, roll credits. Not picking up the phone is actually somehow an incorrect course of action. How is that even possible? None of these decisions were supposed to mean anything. I don't understand. How on earth are you making meaningful choices? What did you... Wait a second. Did I just see... No, that's not possible. I can't believe it. How had I not noticed it sooner? You're not Stanley. You're a real person. I can't believe I was so mistaken. This is why you've been able to make correct and incorrect choices. And to think I've been letting you run around in this game for so long. If you'd made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely. It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making. Or did you not grasp the severity of the situation? Well, I won't have that kind of risk on my watch. I'm going to stop the game for a moment so we can educate you properly on safe decision-making in the real world. Please observe this helpful instructional video.
什么？哎，
Choice. It's the best part of being a real person. But if used incorrectly, can also be the most dangerous. For example, in this scenario, a hypothetical real person named Rupert has a choice. He could invent a machine that eliminates food shortages across the world to make life better for all people. Or he could spend years of hard work forgetting how to read. Which choice would you make? Remember that unlike here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real. Allow the person to finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back, sack, and crack."
还我们练习。
Excellent. Making choices on a regular basis is the best part to a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day. Do you make more than 8? Less? And finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should subside. At this time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
Ah, welcome back. You may have noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative contradiction. But not to worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision-making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago and see what the correct thing to do would have been. This way, please.
Whoa. 哦，我可以走回去了。哇哦 ，OK。那这个可以开吗？不能，好了。我就是在这里被突然之间思想教育了一番，然后企图洗脑成功吗？哎，这怎么有点
？Now that we know your choices are meaningful, we can't have you jumping off the platform and dying. Imagine the main character dying senselessly halfway through the story. That story would make no sense at all. We just need to get you home as soon as possible before the narrative contradiction gets any worse. Unfortunately, it seems this place is not well equipped to deal with reality.
那不是外面？我是可以从那里走吗？我感觉这个地方很奇怪。哇，真的是叫我们走回去哎！哦，原来我还可以再重复走回去，好。这个门不能开了，哈哈哈哈！哇，我现在只要走回去喽。
Almost there. You'll take the door on the left, back to the correct ending. The story will have resolution once again, and you'll be home free in the real world.
Really? 真的吗？还47？真的吗？
Now remember, all you need to do is behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
这是真的要听他的话走左边吗？我们好像叛逆少年少女，我们是不是要再叛逆一次走去这边？这次先走这边，然后我们试试看往上走，是不是真的可以找到老板的办公室？因为走这边的话，这一边就是那些开会。
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
哭嘞，太 太有道理了吧！如果不想要被炒鱿鱼，你就给我少说话，多做事，不求回报的做事，笑死！是有够社畜的。好，这
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
挡住了这条路，不给我们下去哎！刚刚我们就是走下去，然后不是一顿晕眩啊，然后黑屏啊那个，啊，聪明了，他知道怎么阻止我们了。哇哦，老板，你这一层也太不简单了吧？你这个花了多少钱？你跟我说，坦白，你花了多少钱啊？太漂亮了吧！还有2个电话是怎样？哇，这个真的，这装潢不简单啊！不能开，不能开。好啊，这只能走这边。哦哟，中间这个是老板的照片吗？这么自恋呢
？Stepping inside his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, until he saw the door with a voice receiver next to it. Surely behind this door lay all the answers to his questions. And beyond all probability, he knew the passcode. He had seen it on his boss's computer just last week. Night Shark 115. Was this the code to open the door? Would it still work? There was only one way to find out. Stanley had been trained never to speak up, but now he would draw from within himself the courage to face the unknown. He drew a sharp breath and then spoke the code.
Wait, 他要我说啊。
Stanley spoke the code. Night Shark 115. He spoke it into the receiver, right there on the wall.
Really? 我讲得好。
I'm sorry, is there a problem? You didn't mishear me, did you? Please speak the code into the receiver. Otherwise, we can't get on with the story. This is a crucial step.
Okay, calm down. Okay. Night Shark 115. 这样。
Okay, fine. You're not going to do it. But you know what? It's pretty humiliating to bring you this far, only for you to suddenly decide you have better things to do. I asked you for this one single thing, for your respect. The kind of respect Stanley shows for his choices. He knows what it means to take a story seriously. If you didn't want to see what I had to show you, then why did you come here? You had a choice, you know. You could have gone through the door on the right. You could have done whatever the hell you wanted over there. Why did you come this way? Speak. Say something to me. Explain yourself, you coward. You...
Hey.
Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
游戏进行不下去了，要重启那个游戏，笑死！我再走了，再走，走左边，看看左边有什么变化。还是他给我们增加了一些别的东西可以。
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Bye-bye.
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not too late.
你看，游戏坏掉了，游戏坏掉了，而且它的时间，那时钟好像走了因为刚才我们在游戏的时候一直定点在11点21，现在动了。Oh why？ 不能走不到。游戏真的坏掉了，或者是他故意破坏这条路，不让我们走右边，我们就只能走左边，对吧？ 你看。
Oh, it's ruined. I can't believe after everything we talked about that my story, you've destroyed my work. Why? For what? What did you get out of that? What did you think was so special about seeing the game undone, left here like so much garbage? It's worthless now. And what am I supposed to do? Even if there were a way to continue, would it be worth it? To know that my story is now incorrect? How can I go back to that? I can't erase that knowledge. I'll have to live with it forever, reliving its impossibility forever. I couldn't live that way. Is it better to shut the game down entirely? To willingly destroy all of my work? I don't know. What's the answer? What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? No, I have to. I have to shut the game down. I have to. I have to.
吓到我一跳了。
I'm here. I'm still here. Here in this pile of rubbish. With you. You. Who thought you were so clever. Now look where we are. My entire game is destroyed.
Uh-oh.
It was the only thing in the world that was mine, and you've run it into the ground.
Well,
what,
sorry.
Did you think that would be funny? You just had to see? Didn't I impress upon you how important it was to be like Stanley? He actually knows how to do what I tell him to. He understands that if I say to do something, there's a damn good reason for it. That thought hadn't even occurred to you, had it? That there's a world outside of you? You're a child. Oh, my story. If you'd just gone through the door on the left, you would have seen it. There was a whole underground facility. You would have destroyed it and been victorious.
Where?
It would have been so perfect. I worked so hard on it. I tried so hard to make...
What is going on?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Oh no.
Stanley? Hello? Are you... Is everything okay?
Whoa.
Stanley, please. I need you to make a choice.
The
I need
end?
you to walk through the door. Are you listening to me? Can you hear me? Is everything all right?
直接开始跑，
Stanley, this is
直接
important.
开始跑了。
The story needs you. It needs you to make a decision. It cannot exist without you. Do you understand me? Whatever choice you make is just fine. They're both correct. You cannot be wrong here. We can work together. I'll accept whatever you do. I simply need you to take that step forward, please. Choose. Do something.
在比
This is more important than
，sorry
you
啦，
gotta
我
know.
们比了啦，我们走右边。
The story needs it. So, you hear me?
I hear you,
Are you
but
there? You listening
not
to this?
standing.
Stanley, are you there? Okay.
我啥都不能做。
It's okay, I can wait. You need time to decide. Time to make
我
sure
也走
your
不到
choice
哎
is correct.
看我
That
这
is
有
the
点卡
best
着，
choice.
哭
That's
泣。
all right. I'll
我这个
wait for
3D
you
视
to
角
decide what's the
真有
right
点奇
thing
怪
to
呢。
do. Take as much time as you need.
哦，这样的倒影真的很像一个人站在这。哦哦，重启了！你看，又回到这个时间了，11点21吗？差不多，427，我们又回来了。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
哦，关掉了。好哦。哇，有没有什么变化？还是办公室还一样啊？办公室永远都一样。
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it
Yes.
didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any
哎，
way.
你知道哈？你知道我要干嘛哈？不知道我在乱动的东西，看有什么区别？但没有，很明显没有。哎，这个有东西可以打开。 好啦，照着走，照着走，又回来了这里
When
啦。
Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
OK, left， 好吧，就 left 吧。走路，走路，回来了，回来了。
Yet there was not a single person here
For not
either.
getting fired.
Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer
这
there.
很有道理哦，记下来哦。论社畜如何生存下来，就是不要被炒鱿鱼。对，没错。哦，下面开了。
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
哎，我好想走下面。哎呦，好了，不皮了。我先按照正常的剧情看，是真的有什么变化，不然的话就再重来。哎。
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life.
Whoa.
Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him, and so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number. 2845.
Okay,
But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
2845. 2844. 哦，好了，哎。
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
哎，我如果一直按错呢？看他会到最后会不会暴怒？
2845.
哎，1069，1069。
Forgot, but it turns out that the panel's emergency override kicked in, and the door just opened all by itself. And Stanley got the hell along with the story. Well, whoop-de-doo.
What? 啊，你看了，等一下，那个旁白，他不耐烦了，直接帮我开门。哦，谢喽，谢喽。哦，皮哦，真的好皮哦，好好玩哦。然后呢？哎，可是我掉下去就真的掉下去了吧？看吗 ？Really？ 真的奇怪。哟，没得互动哎。So， 楼梯哎。 啊，直接被杀掉，不要吧。
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Wow. 哦，它坏掉了吗？哎，别吓我哎，我没办法回去，我还是重来呢。
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
哇，哎，现在有2条路，完了。我们直走的话，就是这个精神控制的中心，这一边就是可以逃离。哇哦，是我的话，我当然会想要进去看一下我的好奇宝宝。 再进去，去看一下这是什么鬼东西。
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Whoa. Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
哇，这个，哎呦， 我是没有办法走回去了，对吧？对，我已经没有退路了，我只能够一直往前走。来吧，监视器吗？
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
我们是427，看到吗？427。哎，那个真的是我们的房间哎，我们的房间真的长这样哎。哎呀，这是烟头，咦 ？Urgent should under any circumstance auto。哇哦，字太小，我真的看不清。这是挑战我的眼力。然后呢，这个能碰吗？不能碰哦。Employee observation protocol。哇哦。 这个根本就是在监视，监视员工哎！看，一群变态。哦，我还要继续往这里走。好，这个呢是什么意思？
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
然后直接把他们，看还监视他们的一举一动，好可怕哦！
No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
Whoa.
But here was the proof, the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
我有什么东西是可以按的吗？它已经是关掉了吧？对啊，它已经关掉了。哇，那怎么办？我什么都不能干啊！这里中间，哎，我看到上面有按钮哎，这里也有按钮哎，是什么？可以按吗？不能按，按不到。或许他只是要我们走过来这里吧。好。
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
Whoa, mind 什么意思？这要我做抉择是要把它关掉还是开吗？不是，它不是已经关掉了吗？啊？啥？什么东西？他我按什么啊？ 现在是要2选1的意思吗？完了，我完了。所以，我要怎么办？我要怎么办？那我手贱一下咯。
Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going. What all this means, I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated. All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though. This version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock. Why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count, or don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say happily ever after.
哇，我可以再玩多一次那个吗？因为我看到1、2、3、4、5了，我现在才看到，是按的那个1、2、3、4、5，然后我们就可以，我们又回来了。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
关掉了。啊，我们怎么又回到最初的起点？
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Really? Okay. Left. 我看有什么它有什么变化？还是我们真的可以再重新？
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Hoping he might come into a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
就快快聊，快走，好。
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings. Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music.
不给他谈完再按，我直接跑教程，然后还强迫我听这种舒缓的音乐，让我舒
Feeling
缓一下
soothed
焦
and
虑。
rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened
我要快点
passageway.
过，给我过。我再跑多一次，我就不信邪了。我再按多一次，还会是同样的结果。真是。来 ，come on， turn the radio on。
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Wait a minute. No? 有。嗨，突然之间有电话。好，来，继续。啊，我还是要作死吗？好想要作死哦。
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
好。还是那个1、2、3、4、5按了之后还是没用啊？然后还有在嘲笑。
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building. Stanley's co-workers, the lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
47，哎，在下面。这里干嘛？
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he... Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say, 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start. You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated? All right, I'm in a good mood. You're going to die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free.
Anything else?
Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp.
Correct.
I have to say this, though. This version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock. Why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley?
伤怎么了？伤怎么了？他是有什么符号还是什么？没有啊。
I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? But you really believe there's an answer? How many times will you replay this bit, looking desperately for a solution? 10? 100? 1,000? I look forward to finding out and to watching the bomb go off each time you fail. Just you and me and the retching explosion of fire and metal over and over and over for all of eternity. And Stanley died again. And Stanley died again.
Die again.
And Stanley died again. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count, or don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say happily ever after.
这个就会那个门就会开了。好，没事，我们又可以再从头来过。反正他就不会死啊。Hi, I'm back.
Even now, Stanley's office was a distant memory. What did it look like? There was a computer, perhaps, and a painting. Was it a painting or a photo? He could no longer recall.
时间好像也不一样，好像也不一样，有点不一样。Well, the same input. 好像有点不一样。那这次我们要走哪里？
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
这次我们要走哪里呢？我们左还是右呢？我们要再作死吗？右边来，右边。
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow. Yes, this room. What a beautiful room. What a gorgeous, gorgeous room. Thank goodness Stanley had taken this detour on his way to the meeting room. Life without having experienced this room was now too horrible even to consider. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
哇哦！哦，这个区域我们还没探索过哎，那我们就去喽，拜拜。
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
哦，哦，你没有看到吗？这里直走就是那个会议室哎，好，差一点走进去耶，吓死我。No。
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here it's, left.
Oh, really? Is left? 连他自己都不知道这个地图到底怎么走哎。教程，你是开玩笑的吗 ？Are you serious?
Oh, no. No, it's to the right. My mistake.
Bitch.
No, not
Wait.
the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking?
Yes.
It's clearly...
Hey.
Oh, dear. Would you hold on for a minute, please?
你还要翻？
Now, let's see. We went down right, left,
你真的
down,
是很不专业哦，我跟你说，你真
right.
的很不专业哦。
Yep. Okay. Yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
Low. 哇哦，什么地方 ？What the？
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to,
Are you
Who
serious?
am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this
Hey,
time,
rather
suppose we
restart it.
don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top.
你看，这是11点对不对？刚刚我看的那个时钟好像12点，有点不一样。那个人哦
All of his co-workers were gone.
真的，
What could it
他
mean?
真的给我重启了。
Stanley decided to
不知道
go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
哦，我就不信，我就要乱走哈。Surname access。哦，还真的可以关掉了。这个房间我就暂时不太熟。
When Stanley...
Wait.
Wait, what? No, I restarted. I swear I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change?
Whoa.
Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere or... Hold on.
是关掉。
Why am I asking
关掉那
you?
个
I'm the
电
one who
脑
wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay then.
这个
It's an adventure.
这个难分
Come,
掉
Stanley. Let's find the story.
为什么要我来去找？你太多了吧？太多了吧？我要走哪里啊？这里是迷宫嘛 ？Hello， 哇，我真的以为我自己去了。Hello， 请问这里是哪里？Wait. Oh, what is this? What the? 哇，我真迷路了。
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure
Wow,
I've
wait,
ever
wait,
been on. I can
进到后世。
promise you there definitely was a
真的
story
很
here
后世我
before.
跟你说。
Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I
Really?
find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than
这里不是就是我们
this.
刚刚走过的。
Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
What the？ 对呀、真的很后世哎。你看他，哈。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
对，我其实刚开始玩啦，我应该，但是我已经被爆炸炸了2次。我不知道这个游戏可以玩多久我只知道这个游戏它自由度很高，然后就你可以玩到很多结局，就是它会有很多不一样的选择啊，这样。所以我现在是要回去吗 ？Hello。所以呢，我有别的门可以走吗？你可以给我开别的门吗？啥都不能做，我就只能够倒退。
Aha! I knew we'd miss something. The story. Here it comes.
怎么会有这个房间啊？是新的场地耶！看这
No,
个地板。
wait. Never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
我被他骗了，我以为自己真的有路。路真的是要专业一点，你要专业一点。哇！
Now this...
Whoa.
Well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story?
Even though you
I don't think
recognize
so.
it?
I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so good job.
直接宣布我赢了，对不对？
Oh, no.
直接
No,
他
I
找不
don't
到那
feel
个
right
游戏
about
在
this at
哪
all.
里，就直
We
接
both
宣布
know
我
you
赢
didn't。put in any actual work for that win.
这东西
Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations.
Go.
Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care
有不
what might
耍
happen
赖
this
的呢。
time, I have to restart.
我发现这个编程应该也是一个社畜，真的可怜哦。他现在直接把那个路线给
All
我画
right,
出来。
I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable adventure line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
我要是远离那个线呢？哦，没有反应吗？好哦，真的是，哦，现在可以走那个地方了那我们要不要走啊？继续走这条路。
No, I'm down. We're leaving it up to the line from now on.
已经吐槽我们了。好了，我回去了，乖了。我这个不跟指示走的那种玩家真的是头疼啊！这是一个新天地呀、可是为什么它的4B6啊，怎么不是2B 啊？哇！
You see, the line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Okay, Stanley, I need to follow this train of thought for a minute. Just stick with me. Now, we can both agree that the nature of existence is, in fact, a byproduct of one's subjective experience of that existence, right? Okay. Now, if my experience of your existence rests inside of your subjective experience of this office, is this office, in fact, the skeleton of my own relative experiential mental subjective construct? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood. 路线，你确定你交给了一个很专业的师傅吗 ？Hello， 这线路是什么鬼？
啊，鸡蛋糕。哦，这脚很小声啊！哇，这是我的，哎，不对啊，我不是432啊，我是432吗？我是427吗？哎，还是我是432啊？哟，怎么这个员工那么多那个？我不是 no budget analyst， 一大堆这种我根本就不知道什么东西的东西。
Wait, cut the music. Go back and look.
哎，他终于没有在播那个音乐，那我可以开回去。
At that fern. Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story. Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything.
这就是个草，我要记得干嘛？
Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell?
哎，你骗我！你还跟我说跟着线路走就一定好的，结果呢 ？What are you doing？ 明明就跟着线路走的啊。
Oh, no, not again, Line. How could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
哎，我真的笑死！
You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction? Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it.
确定？我感觉就是跟后世。
Oh no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine. Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere, the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits.
Whoa!
Oh, hold up, what's this? The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times? That's really how all this goes? It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing.
Whoa.
Wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really?
Wow.
No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped? Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen?
哇，真的
So,
真的要重开吗？我们也跑不出去啦，除非你给我开门
I guess
啊。
now we just wait. You know,
Wait,
I
what?
suppose in some way that this is a kind of story, wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually.
Whoa.
Well, in the meantime, if you...
哎，这次不一样了，呀，这次不一样了。对啊，我们是27对吧？时间一样，是，好像不一样了。之前好
When
像这里
Stanley
的。
came to a set of 2 open doors, he
Wow.
entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
然后呢？然后我们又回去那个地方了吗。
Okay, I think we all know the drill by now. Blah, blah, blah. Dark secrets, the keypad. Stanley pushes some buttons. Oh, hey, look, it's a new passageway. Quelle surprise.
他自己帮我加快了，笑死！他自己都开始不耐烦了，是怎样？游戏不耐烦。来喽来喽，我们这次呢，好啦，我乖了，我不要手贱了，好不好？
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
我听话了，这次我听话了，我不让按了，好不好？
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
来喽，来喽，来喽，来喽！好，
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
耶，我上去了。
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
变成这个样子。
No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
然后他放了很多感情在解说。
But here was the proof, the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human
我们按
life.
喽。
For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
嘿，我又在按那个。嘿，嘿，喂，喂，喂，喂。那我要是再按多一次这个，我们是要死多一次，对吧？然后他就想 No Stanley again 。好，现在我关了，然后嘞， 然后就跑工作人员名单了吗？
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over?
黑暗了，真的黑暗了。有吗？
Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him. For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
不要变社畜，回归自己生活吗？怎么那么突然之间那么
？Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
The end. 是吧？对，这是结局。可是它应该还有很多个结局。我跟你说，这个真的是各种各样的玩法，我真的是乱来的。你看，还是回来了。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Why? Kenapa?
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
连你也不知道吗 ？Hello， 旁白，你到底在干嘛？你可以专业一点吗？哦，那边也有一个门呢。哦，我们有了新的天地了。试试看跳窗，我也好想试一下能不能跳窗，可是它现在的操作不能跳。
The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers.
他在给我们介绍。
After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers.
Okay.
The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over.
好可爱啊，这些小图。
Please step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content. Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure.
然后嘞 ，Hello.
Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or... Oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it.
Let's do it. 那到底要等多久呢？我就问。这个地方也太
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if them... Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley.
Wow, whoa.
All right. All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
啊，现在可以跳了。如果我跳远一点呢？ 这边不能跳。Low。哦，那我就直接干脆把所有的次数都跳完。你看，离开那个圈圈就不能跳了。哦，好啊，来呀、来呀、跳啊跳啊，跳完它，把全部跳完。跳完了，耶！
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right?
我觉得应该没了。来，我们继续下一个。哇哦！
Goodness. Another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh wait, there's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is. That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
Really? Oh, babe. 因为这一直在，不一样了，不一样了，哇，真的每玩一次都是不一样的。
Psst. Stanley, come over here. In the vent. I want to... Oh, you don't want to see the cool surprise I made for you? Well, fine. You're a dork anyway, so who cares?
哦，他用激将法哦。
Oh, never mind. You're not a dork.
那你再回去。哎，他没有反应了。好了，我进去了。好了，你都已经为我准备了，然后我就进去了。什么东西？哎呀 ，What is that？ 什么地方啊？
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look.
Whoa!
I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC. You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013 when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
Wow. 哎呦，这是他的 他的奖项啊，直接贴上去是什么意思 ？Hello， 8.13哎，我还能当明信片来卖吗？是什么意思？哇，这感觉就是以前设计的那种网站呢。哇，连美元都要留下来是怎样？在这里算是博物馆的吗 ？Go outside, don't play 5 years 啊！如果玩这个游戏没有玩5年就可以有成就吗？哇，那我觉得这个成就我一定能够达成。大家5年之后见，5年之后看我有没有达成这个成就。Unachievable, it's impossible to get this achievement. 什么意思？这个 demonstration 啊 demo。哎呀，各种各样的奖项呢。这个就是我们一开始倒下来的地方吧，对吧？这还有这么多啊！哎，那里有一个钢琴耶！啊，我跳不去，我没有办法过去。
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
开了。哇！这根本就是他的那个maintenance 好，他就是不让我走下去。哇，这是他们当时设计吧？真辛苦了，他的这个设计这么多条支线。
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone, to spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories.
开了，原来是这里啊。
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back to have it all over again.
哎，我要去。这里可以走，这里可以走。
Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here? Oh no. Oh God, no. Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
来，快点开，不要难这么久。No recommend.
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny!
公开处刑
Funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
这里也有这里也是一些就是那种差评啊 ，not recommend。这里也有一个差评。
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. I always, well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it, well, I always thought it did. But maybe it wasn't. Dear, what an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remember. What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have. And here it is. Go ahead. Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Not that, of course, you need a description of it, but if I had to describe it, I'd say it was perhaps... Well, there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right... Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes. It's not unendurable by any means, but it's, well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself about. I know, it's shocking, isn't it? But at any rate, I do suggest that we not press the button again. I think the skip button has been aptly demonstrated, and we can say goodbye to it and just... Wait. How do we get out of here? Where did the door go? Wasn't there a door that led into this room? I do feel quite certain that there was one here before. How else would we have gotten into the room in the first place? I don't think one can enter a room without a door of some sort, or a window or something like that. Do you see a window anywhere? A porthole? A sufficiently large crack in the wall? I'll take any of these. All I want is for us to move on and to please step away from the skip button, to go anywhere other than the skip button. There was a door here before, wasn't there? I swear there was. Where did it go? Stanley! Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours.
Whoa, 12
You've just
hours.
been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer, and my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone. I've looked at it from every angle. I've checked every one of those... Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back.
Whoa.
Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week.
Week?
Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time. Just sitting here. Not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's
好，
just...
就继续按。然后就走那一片漆黑了。
Hello, it's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time. I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year? Let me describe it for you. To begin with, there is only regret. There is only the turning wheel of missed opportunities. I felt nothing at all but regret for the longest time, Stanley. Days, months. I lost it all in a blur of the deepest longing to undo the past. And when that feeling had begun to subside, what took its place is what I can only describe as the collapse of every moment I have ever experienced my entire life. All of them collapsed down into a single instant. In that instant, I could see myself clearly, calmly, with a collected heart. It was an impossibly rich wellspring of both delight and disgust simultaneously. I was consumed by it. I could do nothing but wallow in it for what felt like an eternity, for what I now know was far less. You see, it was a revelation for me. It was unlike anything I had ever known. It was a space without consequence, without action or outcome. It was divorced entirely.
还能按吗？不能按的吗？他是不是安静了？他不吵了，对不对？很好。你没再吵的话，我真是打了人，没说。可是我还是出不去我还是继续按哦。哇，连那个时钟都已经掉下来了。哪里？哪里？是楼上吗？哦，看到了，上面这个，好吵哦！继续按。
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It was...
呀，弟弟，你还没买汤圆呢，抓紧今天已经是冬至了呢，今天要吃的哦。
The end is never the end, 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 is never the end.
我就一直按，一直按，狂按呢我。反正这里又没有得出去，那你就狂按啊。哦哦，哎呦！哇！哇，我是不是越按越多，就是那个废墟越来越大，然后我就可以出去了，对不对？好，真的嘞，这被废墟了，烂泥一堆。再按，再按，继续按。哇，好漂亮哦！这里都生草了，那里过了多少年啊？怎么又按了？怎么了？怎么了？哇！什么东西？怎么会有那个音效？啊！连它都断了。还真的我按太多次了，这个世界都已经覆灭了。什么东西？你该不会今天就得破关了吧？我记得这个新的内容好像只这些，它主要大部分的内容都围绕在那个办公室里面。我们越离越远了呢。我们是要去哪？茫茫人海这里真是。不是茫茫人海了，到底在说什么啦？荒无人烟，杳无人烟也可以。哦，黑屏了。哦，重新了。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
完全就是纯粹。哇，至于吗？
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door and this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
这里有什么别的特别
The
的吗？
lounge was sublime, a work of art. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
这里有什么特别的吗？难道我没有办法再回来这里了吗？还是说我可以直接在这里跳下去
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's
对
incredible
吧？
he
这个
wasn't
需要
5
一个卡
years
刷
ago.
的，可是这边我找不到卡，我可以直接掉下去吗？
But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
真的死了吗？我真的死了。
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room to check on his co-workers. He never functioned well by himself and constantly needed support and guidance from others. So the thought of, oh good, you noticed my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
好啦好啦，听你的啦。好啦，继续走喽。
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra-deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra-deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2.
What? Huh?
Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for.
Whoa. Whoa. Wow.
Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential.
They are back $2. 各种各样的设计耶，这是 PPT 吗？对吧？呀，这个真的跟那种办公室很像哎。所以这个是新的办公室吗？
Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
哇，这种发布会也太好看了吧！然后结果什么都没做，他只不过是弄一个发布会出来给你看而已。Oh my god！
Here we are. Go on. Try out some of the new features.
哦，好漂亮！什么 ？The button that says the name of the player that is playing the game. Hear your name in the game. Really?
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first... Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role-play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature. Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim. I want you to imagine yourself living as Jim, sleeping and waking as Jim, falling in love and being heartbroken as Jim, seizing all of the world's possibilities as Jim, and as Jim watching your dreams crumble into dust. Do you feel it deeply? Are you really, truly Jim right now? If so, then please step forward and press the button.
Jim.
Yes! You see? What a thrill! What a rush! That was you! The button described you. Do it again. Do it again.
你还要我 do it again？ 在干嘛？
Oh, it hits even harder the second time. If this were the only new feature in the Stanley Parable 2, it would still be worth the money. Let's take a break from the Jim button. I'm too emotionally drained from all of this personal validation.
按错键。
I suppose I could allow only people named Jim to play the Stanley Parable 2. An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, it would go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out later.
3 new and easy achievement get here. Collectible. 然后呢 ？Setting. 看一下，我是不是经过那就有一个成就啦？是吧？这个地方也太大了吧！
Now, here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes. You see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull... Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the achievement is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
最好是这个。
What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen
又
yet?
是这个那个跳圈的，看到吗？我已经没有得跳了。
You know what? Let's bring the jump circle back for Stanley
假的
Parable
啦，
2
你
as well.
还算
It's a...
那
Oh,
个
wait.
数字。
You already spent all your jumps the first time we saw the jump circle. Oh well. I suppose it can just be a nice decorative piece then.
哇，那个有那个 exit 哎，我想走哎。哇，是什么地方？
Collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
What the heck？ 啊，我就要收集这些吗？现在还要搞这种东西吗 ？Hello。
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic.
好，我要离开。哎呦！它真的是设计得很美
Oh
啊。
goodness,
哎，
Stanley, this is fairly awkward. I hate to do this, but before you leave, you really should go to the bucket exhibit. You see, there's a surprise I was going to spring on you later, and it involves the bucket. And I really do hate to break the illusion, but it's important that you go see the bucket, okay?
什么东西
All right, I'll get out of your hair
哪
now.
里 ？V2 在哪？我在这。我是要走下去，然后再往那边走，这边吗？Oh, I see。好哦，好，我走这里。有东西给我吗？
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on. Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the bucket seem to go on, don't they? All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2. Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already.
OK， 好，我是不是可以走了？应该可以了吧？这边又不能开，对吧？没啦，那个门也不能开啊。这个都是展示会，还好，我本身不懂得怎么欣赏那种展示会，所以就暂时不需要看。来了，我们这回喽。然后我要一直拿着这个水桶吗？哎，可以了。是我们的包包吗？耶！哇，什么东西？
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience. Okay. Are you ready? Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2.
Wow. 什么？
Well, I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind. Hold on. Let me do a different arrangement. Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go. Version 2.
Whoa.
Who am I kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2."
哇，我们的房间整个全貌，360度可以给我们展示出来。
Go ahead, take a look.
等一下，什么东西啊？哇，是真的可以操作了吗？哎，好像是哎。这算2了吗？然后1我就直接跳过了吗？没了吗？试试看哦。现在几点了？哎，5点多了。
This is the story of a man named
哦，这个
Stanley.
就跟一样那个一开始是一样的，他的也是一样介绍这个男的是谁，然后呢？
All of his co-workers were gone.
哦，
What
一
could
样
it
的
mean?
嘛，我回来了。
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
我回来啦。哦，多了这个。
Stanley picked up the bucket.
哼，现在，现在可以拿着这个到处走嘞。哟。
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
好，我们就是先左转看一下有没有什么变化，然后等一下我们再叛逆一下走右转。
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers.
好，我们上去
Coming to a
试试看
staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
老板，你在哪？我在找你。老板，哎，老板，
Stepping into his manager's
Hi.
office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and... But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
哇，那个密码你真的要记着，一直记着哎。
You found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines.
好哦，还是一样吗？还是有什么变化吗？一点是不是一脸懵逼？怎么又回来这里了？只不过是多了一个水桶。它有各种各样的变化，感觉。
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine. Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind
我
Control
是不是还没有走
Facility.
过这一边啊？我们要不要试试看走这边啊？
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley and the bucket would both meet a violent death.
会死哦哎！真的吗？
The door behind them was not shut. Stanley and the bucket still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley and the bucket were knowingly walking forward into a very painful death for each of them.
掉下去就死了，对不对？然后还是可以往回走，但我不要哈。哇！What the? Oh!
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley and the bucket inched closer to their demise, Stanley reflected on how meaningless the bucket's warmth and comfort had turned out to be. To be sure, it puts the mind and the soul at ease to embrace the bucket. But what use is a sense of ease when you're about to be crushed to death? This is what Stanley thought to himself, and he sort of kicked himself for wasting so much time carrying a bucket everywhere. Farewell, Stanley.
Farewell. Oh.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley and the bucket were led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, the bucket's life came to an end as it was crushed violently to death.
来到一个新世界呢。不对。
It was a shame, the death of such a magnificent bucket. It's true that all buckets are radiant in their own way, but this one stood above the rest. It was a glorious bucket to
我
behold.
们是死的，是不是？这是天堂是吗？啊？什么啊？这是天堂吗？
Can you see how arrogant it was for Stanley to take a bucket like this and to claim it for his own? Can you see the hubris that blinded him? Can you see that the bucket is far more noble than Stanley will ever be in his short life?
哪有？我的价值还是比一个水桶还要高的，好不好？你别搞得好像那个水桶。
No man can own a bucket, and certainly not a bucket as dazzling to behold as this one. It is man who should kneel before the bucket.
Oh no 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 no！ 吓死了我！哦，我拿到了。啊，我拿回来了，哈。
But there is something we can do. Something we can do together, you and I, that will right this terrible wrong.
我也不知道，我也很问号，我一脸懵
Let
逼耶。
Stanley die. Let him be crushed by the machine. Don't reset the game. Don't give him another opportunity to run off with another beautiful bucket. We can save the world's buckets from their treatment as tools and implements if only we let Stanley die together. The bucket shall take its place as ruler, as leader, as commander of a new world, a new vision.
Oh my god， 好痛苦。然后我们又回去了，对不对 ？Come on， 又回到最初的起点。记忆中同时。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
我们终于和水桶再相逢。
Stanley lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him.
水桶在我手里边。
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
我还是不知道要选左，哎，左边或右边，我要选哪一边啊？有点怕这个女的，对啊，那女的旁白有点恐怖情人的感觉呢。不是啊，我拿着这个桶，到底在干嘛啦？我们刚刚是走左边是不是？所以这次要不要走右边一下？我想看一下。
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Well, no, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back, and so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
哈，我就是不要去，你别管我，我就是要来这里。
Oh, good, Stanley. I'm glad you found your way here. I knew you'd find this place eventually.
什么东西？
You see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley. We've come together here because we care about you very much. It's this bucket you're carrying around everywhere. The bucket isn't even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content. We're the ones that matter, Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the Adventure Line and the Broom Closet. Because that's what fans want from a sequel. They want more of their favorite jokes, not this bucket that they've never seen before. Yes, I know I'm the one who gave you the bucket, but you're spending too much time with it. Don't you want another story involving the Adventure Line? We could make the Adventure Line go somewhere new. Yes, yes, that's what the fans want. Let's do it.
Yeah,
Whee!
good.
Look at that wacky line. Who knows where it'll go off to next? Oh, and it played some silly music as well.
然后是那个音乐，你到底是怎样？
Now this is what the Stanley Parable is all about. Don't you remember all those great jokes from the original dialogue? Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers. Yes. It's as classic now as it was back then. Let's do it for the fans, Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly like this. But if we want to do that, you're going to have to give something up.
新的地图呢？然后我又回来了，是不是？
Don't you get it, Stanley? We need to get rid of the bucket. That's why I'm very proud to introduce a brand new character. This is the Bucket Destroyer.
No.
I think it'll make a wonderful new addition to the rich lore of the Stanley Parable. True, it also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to me it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't you agree?
我可以不要吗？我可以选择不要吗？
Can you guess what the Bucket Destroyer does? Surely you don't need me to spell it out for you.
为什么？
Go ahead now, Stanley. Say goodbye to the bucket, and then pop it into the machine when you're ready.
这就等同于要我牺牲它哎！我真的要丢下去吗？
Now listen to me. It's crucial that you give it the bucket. I don't know what the Bucket Destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket. Destroying buckets is all it knows. That is its singular personality trait. Sure, I can hear you saying, how does a character with only one personality trait deserve to join the pantheon of beloved Stanley Parable characters? Well, you see, if you were to really explore the Bucket Destroyer, you would see that its desire to crush buckets is so densely loaded with complexity and nuance that it's really like 10 personality traits. What other object in this game can you even say that about? The broom closet? Certainly not. I wonder what sort of Bucket Destroyer merchandise the fans will be clamoring for after this. Okay, the Bucket Destroyer is getting very upset now. You'll have to hurry and feed it. We can't get back to the classic Stanley Parable characters like the Adventure Line or the Bucket Destroyer until you crush that damn bucket. Quickly now, the fans are waiting. Do it, the fans, Stanley. Give the fans what they want. Hurry and...
哦，真的可以不放哎。
The Bucket Destroyer, my prized creation. You had so much potential. We were going to do such marvelous things with you, tell such spellbinding stories about you. All of it squandered now. Goodbye, new friend. For the moment in time that you were here, you were magnificent.
然后我是解锁了一个新的结局，哎，还真的。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps the confusion and the chaos all seemed to melt away as Stanley embraced the bucket. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
这次还是一样走左边吗？要相信他吗？哇，我跟你说，这个游戏真的可以玩到天荒地老哎，有很多不同的选择，然后就会有很多不同的结局。但是你会变了。哇 ！Inside the sequel, a large room, lots of boxes. There's something to do with stars, something both red and blue nearby a fireplace, a private assembly place for an important person. 什么东西？为什么？啊，这变了，这变了。啊，这可以开耶！
Oh, Stanley, can you feel it? The broom closet. It wants the bucket. You can feel that, can't you? The aura of jealousy? It's as clear as day. This broom closet believes it deserves the bucket.
No.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
还是这里吗？还是回到这里了吗？
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
那我们可以直走下去，走。然后我们这次就去那个很多店的。那个很多监控的地方，然后监控我们要按哪个呢？还是一样按关掉吗？
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
好的，按一下。
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves.
哎，等一下，卡了一下。来喽，这是要爆炸吗？
The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine.
来，我们上去。
Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind. No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control. Never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket.
Oh,
but here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way, and the bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system.
是刚刚那些按钮应该是有用的吧？等一下哈，你知道我现在在干嘛吗？我在找攻略，我在找攻略，哭泣啊！因为刚刚我按了这个开的话，然后就会倒数2分钟这样爆炸，然后。我期间我完全什么都没办法做，它有一些按钮可以按，可是它的时间好像比较快，然后它的那个这个，如果是关掉的话，就直接就是去到一个世外桃源，然后就这样没了啊。这2个都已经按过，可是现在我拿着一个桶，我不知道它的那个结局会不会有改变，会不会有变化。然后欺骗结局，什么东西啊？懦夫结局。肉泥结局什么东西啊？然后嘞，混乱结局。然后我在看，然后，哇，完全不知道他在写什么。看了攻略，还是搞不明白。对他的那个什么结局有太多了，结局太多了 ，Oh my god！ 好吧，那你去看看，那我随便按一个好了，我先关掉。 个场景会不会不一样，还是什么的？
Stanley and the bucket waited in blackness. Was it over? Yes, they had done it. Stanley and the bucket had defeated their greatest and darkest enemy, freed themselves from the tyrannical grip of the evil mind control machine. Freedom was now mere moments away. Excitedly, the two of them began to discuss the kind of life they wanted to live once they stepped through this massive door. The bucket wanted to learn to roller skate. Stanley wanted to sneeze in every country on Earth. Both of them wanted to begin watching a movie, any movie, but then stop it halfway through and begin watching it in reverse from the end. True, it was a simple life they envisioned, but it was one they'd lived together, with one another to lean on, to trust, to support. What? Wait. What was happening? Why had the door stopped? Was Stanley and the bucket not about to be freed?
Wait.
An unbearable silence filled the room, lingering in uncertainty, until finally the truth hit Stanley square in the face. This building did not want the bucket to leave. Even the facility itself recognized the incredible calming presence of the bucket, needed the soothing warmth of the bucket, would go to any lengths not to part with the bucket. No. Stanley can't leave this place. Not while he has such a precious bucket in his arms. Not while this building has anything to say about it. Stanley realized he would never again leave this very room. But at least he has the bucket. To be trapped eternally in darkness isn't really so bad, Stanley thought to himself. As long as I have my bucket with me, right? I'll be okay, won't I? Stanley gulped. Very soon now, he was about to find out.
然后我要回到办公室了，对不对？混蛋，还真的嘞！
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Warmth spread through Stanley's arms. With the bucket in his arms again, he was home.
有一点点的不一样。
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
好，这次我们跑去摧毁吧。
This was not the correct way to the meeting room.
拜拜
But
了，
Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
那边有别的东西吗？还是我真的要去摧毁它？
And so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door. Oh, good Stanley, I'm glad you found your way here. I knew you'd find this place eventually. You see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley. We've come together here because we care about you very much. It's this bucket you're carrying around everywhere. The bucket isn't even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content. We're the ones that matter, Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the Adventure Line and the Broom Closet. Because that's what fans want from a sequel. They want more of their favorite jokes, not this bucket that they've never seen before. Yes, I know I'm the one who gave you the bucket, but you're spending too much time with it. Don't you want another story involving the Adventure Line? We could make the Adventure Line go somewhere new. Yes, that's what the fan... Whee! Look at that wacky line. Who knows where it'll go off to next? Oh, and it played some silly music as well. Now this is what the Stanley Parable is all about. Don't you remember all those great jokes from the original dialogue?
Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
It's as classic now as it was back then. Let's do it for the fans, Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly like this. But if we want to do that, you're going to have to give something up. Don't you get it, Stanley? We need to get rid of the bucket. That's why I'm very proud to introduce a brand new character. This is the Bucket Destroyer. I think it'll make a wonderful new addition to the rich lore of the Stanley Parable. True, it also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to me it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't you agree? Can you guess what the Bucket Destroyer does? Surely you don't need me to spell it out for you. Go ahead now, Stanley. Say goodbye to the bucket, and then pop it into the machine when you're ready.
我没有在互动哎。
Now listen to me. It's crucial that you give it the bucket. I don't know what the Bucket Destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket. Destroying buckets is all it knows. That is its singular personality trait. Sure, I can hear you saying, how does a character with only one personality trait deserve to join the pantheon of beloved Stanley Parable characters? Well, you see, if you were to really explore the Bucket Destroyer, you would see that its desire to crush buckets is so densely loaded with complexity and nuance that it's really like 10 personality traits. What other object in this game can you even say that about? The broom closet? Certainly not. I wonder what sort of Bucket Destroyer merchandise the fans will be clamoring for after this. Okay, the Bucket Destroyer is getting very upset now. You'll have to hurry and feed it. We can't get back to the classic Stanley Parable characters like the Adventure Line or the Bucket Destroyer until you crush that damn bucket. Quickly now, the fans are waiting. Do it, the fans, Stanley. Give the fans what they want. Hurry and...
结局没变，完全就是没办法摧毁。看来主角真的很不舍得他这个朋友啊。
Bucket Destroyer, my prized creation. You had so much potential. We were going to do such marvelous things with you, tell such spellbinding stories about you. All of it squandered now. Goodbye, new friend.
Goodbye.
For the moment in time that you were here, you were magnificent.
哎呦喂，那他怎么玩啊？他还有什么别的结局啊？他一定有很多很多的结局，只是不知道要怎样去操作才可以。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
我可以爬上去的概念是吗？我刚是不是爬上去了？我刚好像爬上去的感觉。
Stanley picked up the bucket and smiled. He'd never be alone again, not truly alone, not with the bucket around. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
And 我记得这一边的往下我们还没走过，对不对？对不对？这里往下还没
Coming
走
to
过。
a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
对吧？哦。
Another miniature Stanley figurine. This, you know, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini stands? Stanley figs? Or what about Stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that. Another Stanlerine under your belt.
好。
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. He looked down at the bucket in his arms. Am I crazy? He asked the bucket. The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all. That's strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these. He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort. And that's when Stanley realized, this isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone else's bucket, perhaps. How did I end up with someone else's bucket? This is all terribly wrong. Surely no good would come from this. Who knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his bucket. And indeed, now he noticed that the rooms were repeating, which was, of course, very odd. And now he felt himself floating off the ground.
Wait,
he exclaimed. Without my bucket, I've gone truly mad. Where is it? I must find it. Far off in the distance now, he heard it, calling to him.
Stanley! Stanley, it's me! The bucket!
Could it truly be? He rushed forward from room to room, passing by one bucket after the next. None of them were his. None of them were his special bucket.
Come to me, Stanley! Find me!
He had to find the bucket. He had to return to his old friend. It was the only way to truly restore his sanity. And then suddenly, he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from. The real bucket was inside of him all along.
Inside of him?
It was incredibly painful. Stanley doubled over in agony and blacked out.
哇，太多了，然后我又倒在街上了，是不是？
This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, picked up her bucket of comfort and security, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Right away, she knew what the problem was. This man had no bucket. Of course he'd gone mad, ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him. Perhaps he didn't even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place. How cruel the world can be, Mariella thought, and she hugged her own bucket even tighter. But of course, she had no time for this. There were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself, my life kicks ass. And she backflipped all the way to work.
啊，这个女的完全无视我，又回去上班了，气死！I'm back.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
I'm back. 我回来了。哎呦，吓死我了！哎，这个可以开，这关掉。这能关掉吗？哎，能呢。好哦。
The good old bucket. Just Stanley and the bucket. Off on another thrilling adventure together. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
走下面的话就是那两个结局，只是区别就是那个女的。
Okay, I'm going back to the name of these little Stanley figurines, and now I'm torn between Stanlerines and Figlies. What do you think, Stanley? What name better encapsulates the intrinsic sense of happiness that you get from seeing a small number in the corner of your screen go up by 1? Let me sit on it. I'm sure it will come to me.
Okay, money in the morning, money in the evening, money for breakfast, money creeps. Wow. 不要这么大压力好不好？好了，这对面啊，这对面圈也可以开呢。哇哦！哦，到底按了什么？ 我要上去还是下去啊？上去。呀，这是什么地方啊？哦，刚刚没有嘞，刚刚这个房间是不能进的。哎，等一下，我是在抖。然后我就一直停在这里了，对不对？是不是有下去？到底。好，按一下，按一下。到了没？哎，啊，不就一样？在干嘛？他根本就欺负我。哦。
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life.
有什么东西吗？
Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him always. The bucket would, and he knew it. The two of them were inseparable. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
可是这样真的可以吗？带着桶去铁桶、大荧幕。那我可以往上吗？不能啦，一定是要往下的。那个一按就是往下的。哎呦，好的。
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
好了。是走了。哦，我的桶子在，我桶子。
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves.
真的有用。好哦。
The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine. Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind. No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control. Never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket. But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. for he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good.
我还有一个地
Two
方还没去，
best
就是那个
friends,
火。
Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way, and the bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the
记得的
system.
我还有一个货仓地方还没去过，那个地方应该也是有一点不一样的，就是我要拿着这个东西去开。诶，那我是按。
But at the last second, the bucket jumped in and pressed the button to turn on the controls. Stanley gasped in horror. Had this been the bucket's plan all along? To take over the machine and claim the power for itself? How could the bucket have betrayed him like this? Stanley was prepared to throw the bucket away in disgust when suddenly an image appeared upon the enormous screen. Birds.
什么东西？
Silly birds. The control buttons became
birds?
active again.
怎么会有这种东西？等一下，哎，那这是什么啊？那个是世界地图。等一下，这是什么鸟？这是老鹰吧？然后这个是类似，哎，这个好像比较像这个，是不是？哎，那这个呢？
Stanley flipped through one video of silly birds after another, and then it dawned on him. This wasn't a mind control facility at all. It was a facility for monitoring and surveilling silly birds all over the world. The mind controls were only a facade to disguise its true intentions. Had the bucket known this all along?
So cute.
Stanley marveled at the metal genius in his hands, the one who had pointed him towards this incredible discovery. Stanley and the bucket never found freedom because they spent the rest of their lives here in this place, flipping through live streams of the silliest birds imaginable. Of all the possible paths his life could have taken, this one was surely the best. And Stanley was happy.
好可爱哦。然后呢？ 这就是结局。恭喜我们又找到另外一个结局了。
Wait, no, this isn't the right office, is it? Is this Stanley's office?
Yes, this is my office. Yes. 有什么问题吗？那一样啊，没有变啊。怎么了？
Where are we going today? The bucket asked. Stanley just smiled. Anywhere they went together would be perfect. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
好，这边有吗？有东西可以给我捡吗？
No,
said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
哦，那很怕会摔死。哎，不对，那边是不是有路可以走？你看，对吧？是不是这边有路可以走？哎。Oh no！ 我回不去了。我回不去了。我。
You're getting close now, Stanley. You've nearly gotten all of the Figler and Marines. Very soon, you'll collect the last one, and then the first number will equal the second number, and that will be it. We'll be different people by then. Different in the sense that we used to have none of them, and now we have them all. You can't go back to when you had no Figler and Marines. None of us can.
也是伤心的呢。然后呢？ 我跳出去吗？我会死吧？啊！可是我要怎么回来？哦，看到了。我看到了，这里。Oh no！ 什么地方？哇！哎，这个地方是新的吗？ 还是又跑回来了？哇！ 这是 cassette， 这是叫什么？磁带是吧？
Okay, this is day number 295. Tape number... I don't even know. I've lost track. Nothing feels real anymore. The longer I study this bucket, the less sense anything makes. The sheer euphoria I feel every time I pick it up. No matter how many times I've done it, it's always the same feeling. And the emptiness in my chest when I set it down. It doesn't make sense. There's no explanation for it. I still haven't figured out why I see the world so differently when this bucket is in my arms. Why everything
哇，讲的也是很
feels
深
so...
刻这种感受哎，他这个旁白你是受了什么
What
伤
do
还
I
是
do
什么？
with this
怎么
treasure?
会有那么多的那种感慨啊、感悟啊？
I can monetize it.
这桶是有什么特别吗？这桶
It's unthinkable the amounts of money people will pay for even just an hour with the bucket.
这桶子应该是个
It's
一个
my
东西代
golden
表，
ticket.
它不是单
But
纯
I
的
have to
桶
be
装，肯
careful,
定
because as
在
soon
影
as
射
this
性
gets
生
out,
活
there's
的
going to be a target on my back. Even now, I don't know who might be trying to get... What's that? Who's there?
What the？ 这是什么？啊？哎，有电话！现在电话是在那吗？这个吗？这个吗？
Hi, Stanley. Just wanted to leave you a message to let you know there's a few things I need you to pick up on your way home from work today. We need milk, cereal, dish soap, spaghetti, get a thing of sugar, some bread, and coffee beans, whichever ones you like. I'll give you a call if there's anything I forgot. Thanks, sweetie. See you tonight.
哦 ，OK， 他老婆吧，这个是让他带点面包啊 ，coffee bean，
A good
钱
bucket,
啊，那
a
个
strong bucket,
糖
a humble bucket, a
对吧？
committed bucket, a bucket of culture and distinction.
什么时候可以按的这个？我都不知道原来那个可以按的，因为之前按它都没有反应。
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong.
它自由度很大，它不会
Stanley
有一
took the door on
个
his left to go back to the meeting room.
类似的那种
No,
said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Good,
said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
因为那边有一个门，对不对？没试过哎，没有走过那个地方。哎，你看上面那边也有一个门哎，对吧？那边有
In
个
here,
小，
said the bucket.
go into this dark room over here.
不能看。
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
对，就这边，没试过，没走过。哎，要接电话了。
Now pick up the...
哦， 我现在可以接电话了。哦，刚刚不能接电话。
This is the sad story of a man named Stanley and his bucket. Once upon a time, I gave Stanley a bucket because I thought he was lonely and could use a friend. And then, very distressingly, he began to believe the bucket could speak to him.
我是觉得这种简简单单、很简约的就好了，不用特别多，也不用特别大。哎，这个不错，我觉得这个我一个人住应该很够，非常的够。其实我觉得甚至连客厅都不需要，就是一个房间就够了。哎，哇！然后呢？为什么是0点啊？为什么是0点？啊 ，Hello Stanley, it's me, your bucket, and take me to work with you.
The Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket was merely meant to provide the comforting glow of companionship. It doesn't literally talk and give you orders. Whatever Stanley is hearing the bucket say to him is just in his head.
哦，这个是给我们阐述从他上班整个过程吗？我是做工，然后现在要回家了。
Lately, I've been concerned about him. Wouldn't you be concerned as well? To see him delusional like this, obsessing over an inanimate metal object? I want to say something to him, but I don't know how I can convince him. I don't know if he'll listen to me.
这能开吗？然后我要回去工作，什么意思？
Well, I'll try anyway. Stanley, can you hear me? Listen to me. It's just a bucket. It can't think, it can't talk. All it will ever truly do for you is effectively transfer a liquid from one location to a different location. That's it. It doesn't do anything else.
Don't listen to the loud man. Press V for us to go back home. What?
You see, he's not listening. He's still taking orders from the bucket. You know, once upon a time it was me he took orders from. Me he trusted and listened to. Now all he cares about is his awful bucket. This stupid hunk of metal.
我怎么感觉这个桶子是他坚持的一个东西？然后身边的人，甚至是老
It's
板、
sad.
同事都不太理
I
解。
suppose he doesn't need me anymore. From now on, he's just going to cling to this bucket, this cold, empty bucket, this sort of shiny bucket. Well, I'll give it this. The bucket does have a nice shine to it.
You believe I'm rude, don't you, Stanley? Press you to go back home, okay?
Yes, I suppose on closer inspection that it doesn't quite look like your average hardware store bucket.
我的
It's
桶子
just a
呢
little more, what am I trying to say? Sturdier, more capable of transporting liquid. Like it would be better at moving an amount of water from one room to another.
over and over again.
Oh my God, what am I saying? Better at carrying water from room to room. It's a bucket. It's literally just a bucket.
连这个
Why
门
do
也
I
不能
feel
开
some
了，
need
完
to
了。
point out the ways in which it's so much more than just a regular bucket?
哇，我现在根本就是2点一线呢，就是
I'm having feelings.
在家
The bucket.
去工作，
Oh, no, no,
做
no,
完
no, no,
回
no,
家
no. What's going on? Why do I want to be with the bucket? Hear what the bucket has to say. Do anything it asks. What's wrong with me? I don't understand. Perhaps if I had the bucket, this would be less confusing. Yes.
这个房间
The
呢？
bucket could tell me what to do in this
Yes.
troublesome situation.
为什么会有个筒子？为什么会有个筒子在那？等一下，我看一下时间哦，12点13分，凌晨12点13分。所以它的那个筒子，等一下，它这个图，它是不是暗示在那个筒子就代表着这个 Jazz Night？ 是这个代表着这个音乐吗？这个演奏吗？所以说，男主是不是有这个梦想？然后只是他目前为止没办法实现，他就去做那种朝九晚五的那种无聊工作。然后，但是其实这个才是他真正的梦想。然后周围的人啊，甚至是他老板也不理解他为什么一定要坚持这个梦 梦想，然后一直说这个梦想不靠谱啦，根本就没用啦，然后就让他放弃。好。
Stanley, give me the bucket. Give it to me. Give me the bucket, Stanley. I need it. Give it to me now. Give it, or I'll.
怎么办 ？Go back to work, Stanley. 怎么了 ？What? What?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. The embrace of an old friend, a weathered companionship that stands the test of time.
所以真的没办法改变怎么吗？我是刚摸到一点东西。
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
我不要。
This was not the correct way to the meeting room. But Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No, said the bucket. Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Good, said the bucket. Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
真的下来了，太好了！啊，这个就是那个需要滑卡的那个地方，对不对 ？OK， 我走到了这里了。Danger everywhere。OK， 我们要小心。应该是大部分是不需要跑酷的，哈。
No, stop. Look there on the wall. You see, there's a sign right there. It says, no buckets past this point. Stanley, how could you think it was okay to bring the bucket here? Unless,
还是一样拿着那个桶，然后去刚刚我们结局的很多个地方，然后它的每个结局都有不一样的点。对，有这个桶跟没那个桶，结局有点不一样。你像我按那个启动那个所有的电，然后不是会爆炸吗？然后我拿着这个桶，然后就不会爆炸，它只是显示一些鸟啊、图之类的。奇怪。然后现在我找到了一条新的路嘛，刚刚走那些啊，我没办法。
Step in here for a moment.
好吧，我走进去了。我现在就找到一个新的路了。
Now then, I'm going to run you through some test scenarios, and you'll tell me whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket. Simple enough, right? This should tell us everything we'll ever need to know about what is or is not a bucket. Okay, let's begin.
什么东西
Item 1. Is this a bucket?
是吧？
Incorrect. It is a hologram of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
啊？有什么区别啦？不是就是这桶吗？
Item 2. Is this a bucket?
我试一下按这个。
Correct. It is a 3D printed recreation of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
然后呢？下一个是不是应该按对？
Item 3. Is this a bucket?
试试看，我也是乱按的。
Correct. This is a bucket.
我又猜对了。这个我是瞎来的吧 ？What the?
Item 4. Is this a bucket?
我怎么办？我好想要按对耶！我想按对哦，怎么办？我按一下，会不会死的？
Are you hallucinating? This is a tractor. It's an enormous machine that tills the earth. I thought this was a gimmick. How on earth did you manage to screw it up? Absolutely incredible. Let's just move on to the next one.
我以为他给我设陷阱，没想到，哎。
Is this a bucket?
哎，坏呢。 救我。
Correct. This is a bucket.
是不是很奇怪，对不对？哎呦，我都不明白为什么刚刚那个就。
Item 6. Is this a bucket?
OK，can I？我就随便按一下的。
Trick question. Both. Gotcha.
Both low。很小，这是完全搞不懂他在干嘛，对不对？
Wait, hold on. I can't find the next one. Let me see. Should be around here somewhere.
然后你要抢我的吗？不要抢我的话，我跟你说。Is this a bucket? No.
Yes. Thank you. There's nothing here. Of course it isn't a bucket. We both know full well that nothing isn't a bucket. Wait, when I say nothing isn't a bucket, that makes it sound like I'm saying everything is a bucket, which of course is not true. Unless, is that what you think? Answer me straight, Stanley. Are you
No, I
trying to
don't
tell
care.
me that you believe everything is a bucket?
我要去别的地方，放我走。Leave me alone. 哦，你要我选择吗？哎，你刚刚在讲什么啊？我没有听到你刚刚在讲什么，怎么办？哎，他刚才在讲什么啦？Everything is not everything is a bucket. No， 他是反对嘛？管他的啦。
You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out. I've lost all sense of perspective. What is a bucket? What isn't a bucket? Mere moments ago I could answer these questions with confidence. And yet now I'm somewhat adrift. Do any of us know what a bucket is? Am I a bucket? Stanley, I can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with. I'm afraid the bucket is threatening to tear our relationship apart. I can't have that. I'm sorry. But I'm going to erase all buckets from the game entirely. Okay, here we go.
No. 好啦。然后这就是结局之一的吗？
What happened? Is everything gone? Why did everything disappear? Wait, was everything a bucket? Every single thing in the game was a bucket. Oh my God, I had no idea. How could... Except me. I'm not a bucket after all. And you, Stanley, you're still here. You're not a bucket either. Oh, this is wonderful news. We're not buckets. Yes, I actually feel much more at ease right now. It's delightful to get some clarity on that issue, but it doesn't change the fact that we haven't got a game. So, tell you what, I'll reset everything and we'll put back all of the buckets, okay? And we'll know that it's all a bucket. But if you run into anyone else, maybe don't mention that. Who knows what that information might do to a person? All right, here we go.
哇，这个又是等一下又是一个新的吗？哎，跟我
All
们
of
原
his
本的完全不
co-workers
一样
were
哎。
gone. What could it mean?
看，
Stanley
完全不一
decided
样
to...
哎。
The bucket made Stanley want to be a better man and a better
Wow.
cook. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
哎，不行了啦！现在播了多久了？要吃饭了。不行，再播下去真的不能吃了。6点半了，对不对啊？6点半了。OK， 好，下次不知道是什么下次了，因为他这个结局太多了。我目前为止已经玩了很多个结局了吧？应该有吧？我死了好几次。好，我就播到这里。The circle is now paused. Begin the game again. 应该可以吧？就这样存的。哎，它真的是直接变成2了，原本的那种是完全不一样。哇哦！啊，原本的那个游戏的是没了。好哦，那我们就到这里吧，去吃饭，哈，拜拜。